Hey guys, Ultima here, bringing you my yellow WarGreymon deck profile, and the goal of the deck is pretty much just to, aggro your opponent and also utilize your security to enable your WarGreymon to attack several times, and also to either delete or just in general reduce your opponent's DP with a lot of effects. So I'll just get right into it and explain how the deck functions. Starting off, we got the Digimon deck. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. We just play 4 copies of the new yellow Koromon from BT4. What this Koromon does is, as long as you have free security or less, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 1000 for the turn. This is only once per turn, but it still benefits your WarGreymon plays, because, like I said, you always want to have as much DP reduction as possible, and your WarGreymon by himself already does minus 6000. Plus this Koromon, the first attack is going to do minus 7000, which may delete a lot of level 5 Digimon already, or even just the blockers. For example, I don't know, your opponent plays like a 7k blocker somehow by boosting it like a black deck or something. I don't know, but mostly just to play around some level 5s, because there's a lot of level 5s that only have 7000 DP. Our 5th Digitama is just 1 copy of Upamon. You can also just play 4 copies of Koromon, but I feel like this deck just needs 5 Digitamas, or in general, like all decks need 5 Digitamas. Because I'm just not a huge fan of just 4 Digitama decks, if I'm being honest. What Upamon does is similar to Koromon, at least with the activation requirement. It's when attacking, once per turn, if you have 3 of your security, you can trigger draw 1. So this is essentially just a yellow version of the blue Upamon in functionality, but the requirement is the same as the Koromon. Right, next up, here's the main deck, starting off with, as you can see, 1 copy of the new secret rare Lucemon from BT4. What he does is you can reduce his play cost. Yep. If you have 10 or more cards in your trash when playing this card from your hand, reduce the play cost by 8, so you can play this for 5. But in most cases, you don't want to really just play him out from your hand like this. What you do want to do is just cheese him out with Angel Woman's inheritable effect, which I'll get over later. But essentially, what it does is just play out Lucemon for free. And the other effect of Lucemon is that on play, recovery 1. Pretty simple. And just a 10,000 level 3 is just really insane, but in my opinion, you only need to play 1 Lucemon in this deck. You can play 2, but then it just starts getting bricky, so I do prefer to play 1 in this build. He also has another effect, but that's not really relevant because he does not Digivolve. Or rather, this effect causes him not to be able to Digivolve at the moment because we do not have any other Lucemon cards. Because his all turns effect is this Digimon can only Digivolve into Digimon with Lucemon in their name. So if you play him out, you cannot Digivolve him further, but to be honest, why would you? 10,000 recovery, really good. For the rest of our level 3 lineup, we also play 4 copies of the new Pulsemon promo. I do believe that Japan did not have this Pulsemon promo at the time that BT4 came out, but we do, so that's really cool, because this is probably the best level 3 other than maybe Lucemon that you can play in this deck. Because what it does is, on play, if you're free of your security, free or more security cards, excuse me, you trigger draw 1. So it's essentially the same as the blue Gabumon, which lets you draw when you play it. But if you have 3 or less security, you gain 1 memory, so you can turn this into a 2-cost vanilla, quote-unquote vanilla. So yeah, and you can get to free security relatively fast with this deck. Like, either your opponent already attacked you that much, or you used WarGreymon's effect to get you to free security. But the best time to play this is when you have a set up WarGreymon with an Angel Woman, and you have exactly free security, because then you can just cheese them out with the Angel Woman, and then you gain both effects, because as long as you're exactly free, you get both effects, so both a draw 1 and a +1 in memory. So this is what makes this promo so good. I really had to just immediately grab 4 as soon as it came out. I don't want it, like I didn't want to pay for it when it like became super expensive, because it is a pre-release promo. Next up we play 3 copies of Patamon. Pretty standard, same purpose as in the WarGreymon builds that a lot of you probably already saw. What it does is that when you delete a Digimon by dropping its DP to 0, you gain 1 memory. Next up, because we do get rid of a lot of our own security in this deck, I play 3 copies of Salamon. I originally played 2, but I did some testing yesterday and I've realized that I do want to play more recovery. So originally I only played 2, now I play 4. Not 4, I mean 3, excuse me. I do play 3. And what it does is that as long as you have 3 of your security cards, when this Digimon gets deleted, you get recovery +1. So yeah, this also helps your WarGreymon plays to not get you into lethal range. Next up, we also play 2 copies of Bushiagamon, pretty standard. Bushiagamon's only ability is Rush, which means that it can attack the turn that it's played, and this works wonders with Angelomon, because Angelomon just plays it out for free instead of you paying 5 for it. Then you can just have another hit. So with 1 WarGreymon, that would be in total, if you have both in your hand, you'd have with 1 WarGreymon 4 hits, and that's the majority of your opponent's security. So that's really good. And also if you, like, if for example you play against like Megazoo, you have 2 of them in your hand, your opponent gives you 10 memory or something, or like a really high number of memory, you just plop these 2 down, attack, and then you get some more security checks. So yeah, I really do like Bushiagamon. I really do also like that Digimon card game shows off more obscure Digimon like this, because I do believe most of you probably didn't even know that Bushiagamon was a thing. But yeah, anyways, those are our 2 last level 3s, which are just 2 copies of the BT3 Salamon, which essentially does the same thing as our baby Koromon here. Except for the fact that it does not have an activation requirement. It's exactly the same effect, but you do not have to have 3 security or less. So that is pretty good, especially because it stacks. So with Koromon and Salamon you get minus 2000. And we also have another Digimon that does minus DP, but we'll get to that later. Next up for our level 4s, we play 4 of the vanilla 1-cost WarGreymon. You just want to memory choke your opponent early game until you get your own TK to further memory choke them. But yeah, you can also play, I believe it's the BT3 Gatomon. I don't know if it's BT2 or BT3 Gatomon that also has a DP reduction effect. But if you do want to do more DP reduction, you can just play that Gatomon instead. Next up, we also played 4 copies of the new Pidomon for BT4. It has exactly the same play cost as the WarGreymon, but it's also a blocker, which also explains why it has 1000 DP less. So yeah, just nice to have another blocker. And our final level 4 is 3 copies of Unimon from the yellow starter deck. Just have an extra bunch of blockers. You just want to prevent your opponent from getting into lethal early, so that's why we play a lot of blockers. So that's that. Next up for level 5s, we do play 2 copies of WarGreymon. I have not really seen a lot of decks that do play WarGreymon for some reason, even though it plays really well with the WarGreymon engine. What this card does is, first, its main effect. During your turn, this Digimon is treated as yellow, which means you can Digivolve to and from yellow, because as you can see, it can Digivolve from red or yellow. That means that you can also Digivolve a yellow Digimon on top of that, which makes this really good. If you want, you can also play Gaia Force in this deck, but that would be kind of inconsistent. You probably want to play at least 1 red Tamer if you do play Gaia Force in this, but you don't have to, because there's a lot of DP reduction going on in this build. Its second effect is its main effect, which is Digiburst 2. You may play a red or yellow Tamer card with a play cost of 4 or less from your hand without paying its memory cost. And unlike the WarGreymon, this does not say that the effect doesn't activate. So if you use this effect in tandem with your TK security search still goes off. So that's really good. But the main reason we play WarGreymon is because of its inheritable effect, which is when attacking, if you have a Tamer in play, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 2000 DP for the turn. So in combination with the Koromon and the Salamon, You already have a minus 4,000 with your first WarGreymon attack, minus 3,000 with your second WarGreymon attack, so yeah, that's pretty damn good to just get rid of a lot of Digimon. Speaking of DP reduction, we play 4 copies of the BT4 WarGreymon. And similar to WarGreymon, this one has also got a Digiburst effect, which is Digiburst 2. One of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 4,000 for a turn. This can also help you to just get rid of an opponent's Digimon, like either like a rookie or something, or just first activate its Digiburst, and Digivolve into either Slash Angemon or WarGreymon. With Slash Angemon, you do a total of minus 12,000 with this, and with WarGreymon you do 10,000, so you can get rid of a lot of Digimon this way. And its inheritable effect is while you have 3 of your security, this Digimon gets 1000 DP, so this can help your WarGreymon beat over certain security cards. Our last level 5 is the one I've been talking about with a lot of the level 3s, because it's Angel Woman. We play 3 copies of Angel Woman. You can bump this up to 4, but I feel like 3 is a good number. Her main effect is, or rather her then Digivolving effect is, one of your opponent's Digimon gains security attack minus 2 when she's Digivolved for the rest, until the end of your opponent's turn. Sorry, I'm so used to saying for the rest of the turn. But would we really play her? We could play her without this main effect. This does not matter, really. It is a nice bonus, but the real reason we do play Angel Woman is because of her inheritable effect, which is, when attacking, if you have 3 of your security cards, you may play a level 3 yellow Digimon card from your hand without paying its memory cost. So this is the reason why we can cheese out Lucemon and Bushiagumon for free. And also Pulsemon. Like I said, like Pulsemon with Angel Woman's inheritable is just really, really, really good. So yeah, enough said. For our level 6 lineup, we do play 4 copies of WarGreymon. After all, this is a WarGreymon-centric deck, so we do want to play as many WarGreymons as we can and want. So yeah. What WarGreymon does is, when attacking once per turn, you may add the top card of your security to your hand to unsuspend this Digimon, and have one of your opponent's Digimon get minus 6,000 DP for the turn. So yeah, really, really good. It just enables you to do 2 attacks, and like I said, if this has Angel Woman underneath it, you can do up to 4 attacks with this, which is really strong. You can beat your opponent in a few turns that way. So yeah, WarGreymon is phenomenal. This is the main reason why I picked up this deck, because I just really like the way it plays. And our last level 6 is just 3 copies of Slash Angemon. Slash Angemon is just DP reduction incarnate. Its effect is, when Digivolving one of your opponent's Digimon, gets minus 8,000 for a turn. And like I said before, with all the DP reduction effects that we have, this does stack up to a good amount. So like I said, with just WarGreymon, you do minus 12,000 and get rid of a level 6 of your opponent. So yeah, you play 3 Slash Angemon. You can pump it up to 4 if you want to, but I feel like 3 is just enough. And enough for our level 7s. Since we do have a level 7 for yellow decks now, we do play 3 copies of Chaosmon Valder Arm. It's essentially a, I don't want to say worse version of the Omnimon from BT1. It's like a different version of Omnimon from BT1. Like, for example, it doesn't have the when attacking effect. Instead, it has a on deletion effect, and its when digivolving effect is that you can activate the when digivolving effect twice, which is one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 7,000 DP for a turn. Which means with just Valder Arm alone, you can delete a 14,000 or lower Digimon. So this is really, really, really good to get rid of, like, an opponent's Chaosmon. Or literally, I think even Ragnar Lordmon is less than 14,000. So yeah, you could even get rid of Omnimon, if you think about it. Like, with all the other DP reduction effects, you really just want to play Chaosmon to finish off your turn and get rid of some of your opponent's Digimon, or one Digimon that's been really bothering you. And then it also has the on-deletion effect that you gain free memory, which turns your opponent from actually attacking Valder Arm, because it's just going to pass their turn. So yeah, Valder Arm is really strong in this deck. Next up, for our Tamers, we play we play 3 copies, excuse me, I almost said 4. We play 3 copies of TK from BT1. I believe it's BT1. Yeah, it's BT1. And what he does is he's just a generic free memory tamer. So as long as you have less than free memory, you'll always start your turn with free memory. And his on-play effect is that you look at your security stack, then reveal 1 card in it and add it to your hand. And if it's yellow, you recover the card that you removed from your deck. So yeah, TK is just really good to get rid rid your stack of cards that you rather want in your hand, because yellow has like the only like downside that yellow has, in my opinion, is that they have a lot of option cards that do not have security effects. So you use TK to just get those out of your stack and use them in your hand. You can also use it to like get your WarGreymon in case it's in the security, or your Valdorum, or literally anything in your security that you need. Your security essentially becomes your second hand with your TKs. So yeah, that's why we play 3 of them. Our last 2 cards are 2 copies of Blinding Ray. I originally played 3, but then I noticed that at some point in the game it just kind of becomes a break, because Blinding Ray, if you play too many Blinding Rays, it gets into lethal really quickly if you use Blinding Ray like too often. Because what it does is that you trash the top card of your security stack to gain 2 memory, which is really good. It's essentially a quote-unquote better Hammer Spark for yellow, even though it doesn't have a security effect. So essentially, its main effect is the same as the security effect of Hammer Spark, as in like giving you 2 memory. But it just has the downside of trashing your security. Of course, there are situations where you do want to trash your security to trigger off your Angel 1-1, for example, to get into lethal. But yeah, 2 is enough. You can play 3, but I wouldn't play 4. Anyways, that's it for our yellow WarGreymon deck profile. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you enjoy my content, subscribe and leave a like, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.